That was
That
great.
was perfect timing. Hey everybody, I'm Garrett Fuller with MMORPG.com. I'm here with Dave Georgeson. We are at PAX East, and Dave is working on probably one of the most anticipated projects I know from our website and from our team's standpoint, which is EverQuest Next. I get to say the name, and then I got to stop. But what Dave and I really want to talk to you guys about today is where you guys are as a team internally, and kind of what your mindset is for the project, because it's a big deal. And I think we talked a lot over the last day or so here at PAX about the philosophies behind the game. So since we can't really talk about the game, you can absolutely talk about what your team, how your team is thinking about approaching a project like EverQuest Next.
Well, when we started working on EverQuest Next, before I was involved in it, they were essentially honing the MMO model.
Right.
The MMO model that we all know and love, that we
Right.
played.
Right.
And we realized after a year or so of development in that kind of direction, that really wasn't going to hit it out of the park. That wasn't going to be something that people really wanted to talk about and was going to make people super excited. It was going to be another MMO.
Right.
So we realized that we couldn't keep going down that road. So what we did was we threw it all away, and that was about a year and a little bit ago. And at that point, we brought in different talent that was, I don't know, original thinkers, I guess.
Right.
We sat down and we pooled down. We kind of made big old lists of like what we loved about MMOs, what we hated about MMOs, and then this shorter list that was all the holy grails that we always
Right.
wanted to conquer.
Right.
And we kind of tore down everything about the MMOs, and we picked at it until we found pillars that we thought were something that people would kind of lose their mind about.
Sure.
That they would look at it and go, they're doing what?
Yeah.
And then they want to participate in it. And then we started drafting what I call AAA talent.
Right.
People that were just really, really great at their craft. And we
Right.
assembled a small core team of about 20 or 30 people that then started prototyping ideas and figuring out what we could do and what was fun and what wasn't fun.
Right.
And it basically proving out the holy grails that we wanted to shoot down.
Sure.
Once we determined that we had enough of that stuff nailed down, that it became all of our dreams were possible, that
Yeah.
they were not only possible but plausible.
Yeah.
That's when we started recruiting a serious team,
Right.
and now we're in full production.
Cool. I think it's great. I think it's great that you can go into a project and you guys have the ability to see what works and see what doesn't, and allow that flexibility. Because a lot of teams struggle.
Well, there's very few people that have the kind of breadth of experience with MMOs that SOE does.
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
there's almost no Western companies that have this number of MMOs,
Yeah.
and especially this variety of MMOs.
Yeah.
So, since we treat all of our games as part of the same family, we look at them all and they all act differently. They're all different from each other. Even EverQuest and EverQuest 2 are
Yeah.
dramatically different from each other.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we get different kinds of information from those.
Yeah.
That all gets distilled into a knowledge base that's second to none. So we know what we're doing.
Right,
We know
right.
what works and what doesn't work in these kinds of vehicles, and we know the sorts of obstacles that we're facing when we generate a new MMO.
Yeah.
A lot of new MMOs have spiked and tanked,
Yeah.
mostly, in my opinion, because we haven't seen a lot of variation in theme.
Yes.
So
yes.
EverQuest and EverQuest 2 keep winning those battles.
Yeah.
Because people go away and they try a new game, and then when they get through that content too fast, or they find out that the feature depth isn't there,
Right.
they come back.
Yeah.
So we've had incredibly stable populations on those games for years and years now.
Yeah.
EverQuest is 14 years old, and EverQuest
Sure.
2 is 9.
Yeah.
We don't really understand why they would ever end.
Yeah, no, we've talked about that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it's true. So I know one of the other things we talked about, and I know it's exciting for fans to be able to see it this early, but you guys do have reveal plans in the future, and maybe we could talk a little bit about the plans you have to reveal the game. And it's pretty exciting. I'm getting the marketing eye again. See, I said I would say that, and I did. I'm getting looks from marketing. But you can talk about at least the fact that you're going to reveal, which is an announcement in itself. So
EQ Next has a lot of what I think of as completely original ideas in it. And that's why we're not really tipping off our competitors to what we're doing right now. We want a nice, big, comfortable lead before we show
Sure,
people what
sure.
we're doing. And that's why we're in a black box right now. And SOE Live is coming up. That's our annual event where the
Yeah.
fans come and they support our games, and it's our hardcorest of our hardcore fans. They're the people that really are willing to go to Vegas and spend money to be
Sure.
around us and know what's coming next.
Sure.
So that's why we want to reveal it at SOE Live.
Uh-huh.
So that we're planning on the first night of SOE Live on August 1st to reveal this new game to our world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's awesome. And for those who don't realize, SOE Live used to be a fanfare, right?
Right.
And you guys rebranded and named it SOE Live. I thought
Right.
it was a great decision to do that. And I think SOE Live speaks better to the community for everybody. But I think it's exciting. So if you're, just be patient, 4 months, right?
Oh my God, 4 months. That's all the time we have.
I know, right? I know. For you guys, it's great. For Dave, he's like, oh God, here we go. But I think it's great now. And
I gotta go.
Yeah, good luck, man. I know, right? Go make that. You got one more day at PAX. Everybody takes a break from PAX. We learned that, right? Again, Dave was on the panel last night for Future of Online Games, and he had some great insight. And talking about I even said this, the title alone, EverQuest Next, really makes you think about where MMOs are going. And we've seen so many things out there, you know, the trends, the theme parks coming back now to sandbox style, and everybody in the panel was really enthusiastic. So in terms of, you know, what you see as far as where games are going over the next few years, I mean, you can add a lot of what these players are going to be playing in the next few years.
Yeah.
So what are the trends you see that really, really speak to you as a developer?
Well, there's some obvious stuff, like, I mean, everybody and their brother is thinking about how mobile devices are going to integrate in with these big virtual worlds that we build and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's an obvious thing. Like, players really want to stay connected to their worlds, or
Sure.
there wouldn't be all these fan sites and news sites and everything like that.
Yeah,
We wouldn't have
yeah.
all these wikis if people didn't care about it.
Yeah.
So that being said, it's an obvious thing for us to be able to connect in and be able to participate in the game in different ways, and that's inevitable. That's going
Right.
to happen.
Right.
And then there's this cloud of amazing peripherals that are starting to get created, like the Google Glasses and the armbands and the Leap Motion thing where you use your hands like Minority Report.
Yeah, right,
I mean,
yeah.
crazy stuff that's going to eventually unharness us from the PC itself.
Yeah.
Like, you'll still use your PC because it's a very powerful box and
Right.
it can render and do all the stuff that's necessary to make the game work.
Right.
But there's no reason you have to be sitting at that chair.
Yeah.
You could be wirelessly connected to all of that and be able to play all kinds of different ways and stuff that way.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the external stuff.
Right.
Where we need to be going internally with the actual game itself, there's a lot of stuff. Well, we're all guilty of having created combat-oriented games from time to time.
Sure.
And that's not really how MMOs succeed.
Yeah.
MMOs succeed when you have a family, when people are part of a world, where they feel proud of the world that they're in.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
understand the lore and they get friendships and all that other stuff. That's where an MMO starts to
Yeah.
really kick into gear.
Sure.
And that's one of the reasons why I don't expect EverQuest and EverQuest 2 to ever die. Those
Yeah.
people are really, really happy to be there. They love their community. They love their
Sure.
game, so on and so forth. And we keep supporting it.
Sure. I think it's great. Yeah.
Every time we launch an MMO, we keep a big live team on it. PlanetSide 2 has a huge team on it.
Yeah.
EverQuest and EverQuest 2 have had full dev teams for years.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
I tell everybody is essentially, EverQuest has been in full development for 19 years.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead, beat that with a new game.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? You
it's
can't
true.
beat that kind of depth of feature.
Sure.
So when we're making a new game, like with EverQuest Next, we know that we can't just do that. That's
Yeah.
why we have to have something substantially different that attracts people with brand new ideas that they've never seen before.
Right.
In combinations of things that they've never seen before.
Right.
And that's what we intend to do with EQ Next.
Wow, I think that's really cool. Yeah, I mean, that's true for any MMO. I mean, listen, good combat mechanics, good gameplay mechanics. Those are part of the tool. Those are
you have to have that core.
Yeah, you have to have. I almost look at it as like that's your wrench and your screwdriver, you know. But
Yeah.
but there's this muscle car that you're building out there
Absolutely.
that's going to look amazing, and that kind of. I think you're right. I think community speaks to that. I know Linda's here. We're going to talk to her in a few minutes, and she knows better than anybody the power community and the communities that stick.
Absolutely.
The guild systems and things like that is always a big deal. So yeah, I think that's very true. So we'll end on this note. This is a tricky one, but what is something you want to say? I know you can't say much, but what's something you deep down in your heart you want to say about games and you know, overall, just like you know, where you're coming from as a developer? Because I think it always speaks a lot that you guys are always promoting the game, and we're all gamers at heart. And there's always something about it that I say, you know, well, Dave has a way of thinking, and you know, so share it. They want to know.
every game, no matter what game you're playing, I don't care if it's kickball or chess or whatever it is, every game has one major objective for the people that are playing it.
Yeah.
You want to get good at it so that you can brag.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to tell you I'm better than you,
Right.
but you still know
Right. Sure,
when you're
sure.
better than somebody else, and
Sure.
that feeling makes you feel accomplished. It makes you feel cool.
Yeah.
MMOs in the past have generally kind of focused in on one or maybe two ways to feel great about having beat the game.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more ways to participate in these virtual worlds
Yeah.
than a straight combat mechanic.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. You got to have great artwork to attract people to a game, and you've
Sure.
got to have a great moment-to-moment action, or else you don't have a game.
Right.
But
right.
that's just the starting point for an MMO.
Right.
I mean, there has to be so many ways for people to cooperatively play together, and reasons and successes that can come from that.
Yeah.
That makes people dream of better things. That makes people. I mean, after all, you're really living a virtual life when you're playing an MMO.
Yeah.
You've created a character that you want to be,
Yeah.
and you're perfecting that person and making them heroic or whatever it is over time.
Right.
Now, you can be heroic in a lot of different ways. You can be the best housing decorator. You can be the best explorer. You can be the best combat dude. There's a lot of different. I'm not going to get into EQ next.
Sure.
But there's a lot of different things you can participate in, and it's our job to make sure that you have a way to become successful, a way to
Right.
brag, a way to show off, because that's ultimately why we all play games.
Yeah, yeah, of course. It's that competitive nature, but it's also the fun aspect of it too, and I think that's great. Listen, Dave, I can't thank you enough for the time. I know everybody's good. Just be patient. It's coming.
It is coming.
That's the smile says it all on that one. So
And it's good.
I know, Dave. Thanks so much for joining us here. I'm Garrett Fuller with MMORPG. We are at PAX East in a couple of months, August 1st, guys. We will finally start to be able to see the curtain will come back and SOE Live, and I think it's going to be really exciting. So
good stuff.
good luck in the next couple months, man.
Thanks.
You'll be all right. So.
Appreciate it.
All right.